Welcome, CNG 124-500. Uh, so a quick reflection on what I should see. Usually Mondays, very high assignment submissions, um, usually 80s to high and higher. I know we do activities throughout the week, and there's going to be a lot of snippets with those. The discussions, they look a little light. Um, yeah, so see, we should have oh, I had the right date on there. We should have 25 matching up, 25 matching up. Um, and looks like this is just a little lighter. Could be because of the weekend. Um, but I'll take a look at those. I got to fix this date here. Um, but yeah, so the submitted assignments look good. There's going to be a whole lot simply because if we go down, where is it at? Right here. As you see, we have about 75-ish already submitted. I gotta fix those dates too. Man, all my dates are gonna be off. Sorry, I do apologize for that, guys, already. Maybe I'll just take those dates out of there and make it just a little bit easier. But yeah, it looks like we should be around 25 to yeah, about 25 to 20. Um, Right here we have 26. Make sure to get those in. They do add up. If you're to go back in the um, syllabus itself, you'll see that the labs are worth a substantial portion of your grade, while the CNAP activities, um, Cisco Netacad, um, Access Portal, I believe that's what that is only worth about 10%. Although they're easier to do and it feels like you're getting a lot done, it's only worth 10% of your grade. So do make sure that you hop on those lab assignments and make sure that you get to the discussions for every week. And, just basically you're just saying I, how you felt this week. Something that you found easy, something that you found hard, and something that you have to work on. Just so you can kind of look through that and say, okay, this is what I found difficult. This is what I have to work on still, just so I understand that a little bit more. And as we see in this week, week 3, we jump into learning IPv4 addresses. Yeah, chapter 7b. We look at IPv4 addresses, which in most cases is currently being used. CMD. Actually, let's go CMD open as administrator, because so once you on your computer, make sure you open it as administrator. You should see C Windows System 32. Then we can do IP config, and then we get some information. This right here is your IPv4 address. You can see my IPv4 default gateway. So in order for my PC to get out to the internet, it has to go through this gateway here, and it's already defined. We look at how to classify addresses this week. So we're taking what we know, let's see, in binary, we're taking what we know and converting it to an IPv4 address, because we can write 192 in binary in an IPv4 address. Basically, just like we did in week 1, 255, 255, 255 is also another binary expression. When we look at this value, it's just going to be 8 bits turned on, so all the 8 bits will be represented by a 1. When we look at the homework for this week, it will become just a little bit more clear on how to do that. Assignments, where's our lab at? So here we're just verifying what is possible in a class 4 IPv4 homework. Make sure to watch the homework video that I included in the assignment sections. It'll make that homework piece just a little bit more clear. And when we go to the slides, do I have a weekly reading too? No. Review. So, okay, so in the slides, in IPv4 we have 32-bit number broken into 4 octets. So as we see, an octet is going to be this number here, this one, and then that last one, all separated by a dot decimal. And that's how we're going to know that it's a IPv4 address, is because it's going to have 4 octets divided by decimals. The subnet mask, default subnet mask for a class C would be 255.255.255.0. A prefix, which we're going to start using just a little bit later, would be a /24. Here we're looking at reserved addresses. This is highly important. First address is always the network address, super important. The last address is always the broadcast. So we cannot use the very first and we cannot use the very last. We're going to do class full addressing first. Class A, the first 8 bits. So subnet mask is going to reflect that we're using the first 8 bits. So the octet will be, all the ones will be represented in each bit value. Our prefix will be 8. I guess it's a good idea to know the default prefixes, but a little bit later on we'll start to really hone in on prefix important at that point. Let's see, the first octet can only be 1 to 126. That's for a class A. The first octet is the only network address. Remaining 3 octets are all host addresses. First octet is the only, okay, so we're only going to use the first octet. The last 3 octets are for host addresses. This will allow up to 16 million addresses or more, but we're going to see a little bit conflicting news later in the course, just by the size of the network hardware can handle, but that'll become a little bit later after we learn how to do this first. Class B, the first 2 octets belong to the network. The last 2 octets belong to the host. Class C, the first 3 octets belong to the network. The remaining octet belongs to the host. And as we see here, number of networks, 2 million. That's because, a little over 2 million. That's because of our network addresses of the first 3 octets. And then we see the host portion. We can only have 254 hosts there. There's actually 256 addresses, but since we cannot use the first and we cannot use the last, we can only use 254. Represented by a /24, the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Class D and E. Class D is for multicasting address. Basically, a computer would have 2 different network addresses. First, they would have a class A, B, or C, and then they would have a class D. Those computers would be able to talk to each other on that class D only for very specific reasons. And that would be like some sort of software involving those only 3 computers out of 254 talking to each other specifically for specific information. Class D is reserved for experimental use. I've never seen this used or deployed, but as we look at Class D and E, you're going to come up, or actually the network administrator would come up with the subnet mask that these 2 last classes have. We're going to use some ANDing to figure out the network address. So here we have an IP address of 31. So we have a computer that has this address. We take the subnet mask, multiply it by this number, and then we get, or multiply it by the subnet mask. And as we see, only the ones will come down. 0 times 1 is 0. As we hear, 1 times 1 is 1. And then when we get to the back here, we'll see that 0 times everything is 0. Oh, I guess I can't highlight that. And a shortcut here would be, since you know it is a Class C, and you guys will learn this better, since you know this is a Class C, you'll be able to say, okay, everything in the front 3 octets belongs to the network. I cannot change that, so I can only look at the host portion, and only the host portion can change in a Class C address. Okay. So just a little bit farther on, this video is kind of long. Make sure to read over the slides. Look at the private addresses also, class A, B, and C. These are only within specific lengths, and you'll kind of go over them in the Netacad material also. But yeah, this week we're starting to add stuff together. Once again, keep on it, keep at it. Even though I know it's a new way of learning, keep at it. Because at some point you'll just get it and make that breakthrough.